Jerry, I'm just going to come out and say, to my knowledge, this is the first time that we are sharing these prototypes outside the company.
One-of-a-kind products that have never been seen by the public.
To reinforce how top secret it is, this box is labeled, "Do not touch."
Well, we should knock the dust out of it, just do it a favor. That was pretty fun. Yo! Here we are. Okay, guys, I've got a very unique one. It's a CAWS firearm, 12-gauge semi-automatic, box fed. Never saw it. I've never seen it. We're going to shoot it together, and we're going to enjoy it. Come along. Come on. Wow, that was a lot of stuff going on. You know, Jason, I know Smith & Wesson in the past has worked with and continues to work with the military guys. I'm liking what I'm seeing here, but I don't know really what it is. So share with me, what is this big monstrosity of a firearm? What is it?
Okay, so this is something that never went into production. This is a prototype that was developed in the early 1980s for the CAWS or CAWS program of the early 80s. As best we can tell, it was discontinued around 1985 as something that we were trying to develop. That's when the plug was officially pulled on it. The intent was to create a shotgun for military applications at the time. Okay, so the Smith & Wesson CAWS was a short recoil operated, box magazine fed shotgun of the early 80s, meant to be a military product back then. This magazine was a 10-round magazine, so
that's a big one.
for as big as it looks in terms of physical dimensions, it only holds 10. But then what do we have here? A short recoil design. So the bolt head is going to be locked into the barrel extension. They're going to reciprocate backwards together a short distance. And then from there, that inertia put into the system, or that recoil impulse, is going to cycle your bolt. You've got an inline recoil spring, right? So meant to mitigate the recoil.
Like an AR.
It's all inline, and then a raised sighting plane here.
So I would take it this was a tool room gun.
Yes, in fact.
So this is before you had any 3D printers or.
Right. So this gun, in that era in the 80s, this was all made by hand on manual machines in the Smith & Wesson tool room. And in fact,
wow, that thing is smooth.
It is really.
That is if you can hear the lack of grit when you pull the gun back, that's pretty cool. What you have to realize, guys, this thing was built one of a kind. Somebody was sitting there with probably a hand-operated milling machine with a big chunk of metal, and he made it into this. That to me is just amazingly good machine work. But when you work the boat, it's
frankly, that's smoother than a lot of modern
that's what I'm
semi-auto
saying.
shotguns.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we got Smith & Wesson, Springfield, Mass, USA, with serial number X419. So that X serial number says it was an experimental, a prototype gun. In terms of the layout of the gun, remember it's meant for the military in the early 1980s. So the layout of the controls is reminiscent of what you would see on the U.S. military arm at the time. You got your pistol grip and then a selector switch.
M16,
Exactly. And in fact, there is a bolt catch and a magazine catch. Meant so that it would have the same manual of arms that a U.S. soldier would be used to at the time. Takes down very similar to the M16 at the time, where you knock out a takedown pin. Helps to have something to poke with there. So you got your top end of the receiver here.
I'm still amazed. This thing is super slick. Whoever was working on it had the pride of manufacturing in the back of his mind the whole time.
In fact, we can take the barrel out of the extension here. You can see this looks to be chrome lined. And if you talk about some delicate machining that was done back in the day.
Probably all hand broached too, isn't it? I would doubt if they had a broach made to cut one barrel extension. So they probably did it individually. I'm amazed at the workmanship on the whole thing.
It really is something to see. And as someone who's designing guns today at Smith & Wesson, it's interesting for me to look back and think of what the people who came before me at the company had, and they may have been working with wooden models at one point, or the different technologies that have evolved over time.
Yeah, the gun guy, I'm just drooling on it, thinking that was, yeah, pride of manufacture there. That was somebody's baby there for a while.
It was.
They took good care of it. Just looking at the magazine, that speaks volume for the workmanship. One of a kind. They probably didn't make a dozen magazines.
We have one left.
Yeah,
I don't know how many they made, but
I can't imagine the hours it takes to make that.
If you just look at how many separate sheet metal form parts there are and all the individual welds. Now, of course, it has a piece of tactical packing tape meant to reinforce the floor plate, because that must have been damaged sometime along the way.
Prototype, yep. I want one. I wasn't around at the time, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, something about this Smith & Wesson CAWS program prototype is, to my knowledge, this is the first time we're talking about it to the public and putting it out on video. It is a gun that very few people know that Smith & Wesson even experimented with back in the early 1980s. And there is really, frankly, limited information out there online about it. And this is the one that we have left in the company.
So that's why we're here, guys, to show and tell the one and only CAWS. And it worked.